For the afternoon session, we're going to have two panels. So for the second panel discussion, we're going to talking about human-machine relations. Now we all have our artists on the stage and also our moderator, Professor Peter. So I think they are all ready now and you are also ready. So please give them a round of applause. Kavita Watanachiyanggun and Professor Peter Mantello.
I'd just like to, before Kavita starts her presentation, just give you a bit of information about her background. Kavita is a Bangkok-based artist whose practice explores labor, the body, and systems of production through performance and video-based media. Her work critically acclaims how social, economic, and technological structures shape human experience, often using the body as a site to reflect upon power, control, and agency. She has exhibited internationally, including at the Bangkok Art Biennale, the Asian Triennial of Performing Arts, the Asian Art Biennale, and exhibitions at institutions such as the Friedrich Kanna Museum, the Albright Knox Art Gallery, Hamburg, Bahnhof, and the Kunstmuseum in Basel. Her work has also been presented in collateral events of the Venice Biennale and the Asia Pacific Triennial. Through her exploration of embodied experience within contemporary systems, Kavita's practice offers critical perspectives on human-machine relations and evolving notions of authorship and agency in today's technological landscape. So with that, I'd like to introduce our speaker. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me here and for inviting me to do this session. So my name is Kavita, and I am a video and performance artist based in Bangkok, Thailand. As you can see here, I do quite a provocative, physically enduring performance. But today I'm going to talk about the latest series, which is called Cyber Labor. And Cyber Labor series is actually a series that I collaborate with technologists such as Pat Patharanuthaporn, who's actually now a professor and also head of cyborg psychology at MIT Media Lab. Also with teams such as Henry Tan, who is also in this panel as well, and the engineering team in which you'll be introduced in my videos after this. So cyber labor. Let me go back and introduce my work for a little bit for you guys who haven't seen my work. So if you have seen my work, you know that I work a lot with labor and how I was talking about the machines that were replacing us in terms of our physical body, like our jobs or our labor. And it was the challenge of the laborers who were already challenged with, exploitations, for example, lower wages, for example. But they were being challenged with how the machines, the physical machines that were replacing their jobs. But cyber labor, as I work with Pat, the AI technologist, we don't only talk about the machines that didn't look like us or didn't speak like us. We're dealing now with the mental machine, the machines that look like us, that speak like us, and the machines that think like us. And this is now a very challenging time. And so for cyber labor, it's the time that we explore this topic of labor. So this is just my statement saying that, it's kind of like a lifelong practice from understanding oppression towards the journey of freedom. So as I said, I was working a lot with labor and how they were being oppressed, exploited. But is there a way for us all to be free? And what does it mean to be free? What does it mean to be a human, actually? And so this is a theme that I talk about the work, in which I'm going to show you, starting with voice of the oppressed. So this is actually quite a violent work, a performance work that was performed here actually at BACC during the Bangkok Art Biennale in 22. So Voice the Oppressed was basically talking about how we had the AI that had two different mindsets. So one AI was generated with the mindset that oppression is a necessary evil for stability in the world. And the other one has a completely opposite mindset who believes in breaking free into a total freedom, but with that risk, a kind of like anarchy and chaos. And so as they were fighting and discussing about their two different systems and two different beliefs, me, on the other hand, were kind of like living in this, I would like to call it a Plato's cave or fish tank. You know, it's just like our world. We're kind of like living in this immersive, I don't know, Plato's cave. And we don't know what the truth is or what our reality is, kind of like being told by the two completely different mindsets or different systems in which we don't know which is right. And so, oops, sorry, sorry. This is the next one. So these two AIs, as I told before, one believes that, you know, it's necessary to control people so that, you know, people would be in order, in law and order, and to be stable. And the other one, as I said, to breaking free into a total freedom. And then the thing is, both of them believe that the other is a form of violence. It's a form of pollution or the gunpowder that is destroying the world. And so me, not just living in that, you know, fish tank, but every time that anything that both of them were discussing or fighting against each other, the polluted dust or the gunpowder would come out into that world that I was living in. And then I was just trying to survive or holding my breath until there was another thing, which was the water cannon that would come out and catch up the molecules of the dust until I would be able to breathe again. But the dust would come out for like so long, 5 to 7 minutes, until I was saved by the water. As I said, both of them think that the opposed are the polluted dust, the violent, the gunpowder that's destroying the world. And then they believe of themselves as a cleansing water, that the cleansing water cannons helping and nourishing the world. They believe that their system is right. And I guess I don't have the answer for you guys, you know, the absolute answer of what answers that I had from the performance. But I guess this is what I wrote, you know, as humans, are we blinded, trapped in this immersive Plato's cave by competing systems, each claiming to save the world while shaping what we are allowed to see? All we can do, or all I could do in that performance was simply just, I guess, trying to survive, like all of us in the world. And then there was this conversations that they were saying, in which I concluded here, saying, are we the bread and sweet honey that nurtures the world? Or are we the salt and spices that make the food of life unpalatable? Should we strive for stability or risk for a way out to total freedom? So that's the performance in which I think I did that for almost 40 minutes, and that was the one and only performance that I did at BACC, because after that, I was rushed into the hospital because of the amount of the polluted dust that I inhaled. And so, but yeah, I guess the main point of the performance was I knew that there were these competing systems against each other, but as humans, all I could do was just trying to, I guess, survive the polluted dust. There was this other performance, live performance that I did, and also collaborated with Pataranuthapon again. And in this time, it's very similar to the other one, but we did quite a huge stage on the first floor of AGWA, which is the Art Gallery of Western Australia. And you can kind of see that it's kind of like a yarn, kind of like a spider web type. But this is actually a map that imitates the map of Southeast Asia Capital Network. So like all the companies that are connected to each other, everything, it's that map. Anyways, again, there were these two AI who were discussing about which way to go. Should we repeat the same old capitalism network, capital map, or should we entangle everything and then, just go into another direction of our own, or untangle everything and then that becomes emptiness? And so that's what I did, sometimes, because both of them feel very convincing. And let me tell you that this was kind of like a life decision that I didn't listen to them or their conversation before. So as I was listening to their conversations, I was doing this live performance, like live decision to either, or maybe I should continue this network because this is what I've always been valued. This is what, I was programmed to value. I was programmed to value structural things, like material things. Emptiness, if I would untangle everything and everything it's empty, and then I don't have these solid things that I can touch anymore. Would I feel valuable? Would I feel free? And so that sort of thing was kind of like the struggling decision that I was making and the thought process that I was having during that live performance. And then I sort of concluded it with, what does it mean to be free? If I am able to untangle myself from the network of capital, of the current capital, breaking away from a broken capitalism, would I truly be free? Or would it just be another network? What does it mean to be free if I could loosen myself from the threads of capital, from a system already fractured? Would I finally be free or just suspended in another invisible web? So that's the performance. Very similar to Voice of the Oppressed, but different approach. And then this is the one that I am going to especially focus on because this is the collaboration also with Henry Tan, who's here with us online as well. And so this is called The Machine Ghost in the Human Shell, one of my recent collaboration with them. So in this work here, you might kind of be like, what is this? It's a live performance recorded. And this is the LED, EMS, electric muscle stimulation attached to the hands, so the hands could move. I'll explain later. And then this is a drawing in which I was drawing. And this is called Battling with the Humanized Machine, the Manipulator of the Mind. You understand later of what it means. Let me tell you about the project inspiration. So it was from an anime called The Ghost in the Shell, in which you might have seen. It's quite popular. So there's a main character whose name is Motoko, who's an AI. And she was just asking, do I exist even if my brain is a copy of someone else's? And then he said, if you have the ability to ask something like that, to think or to doubt, then, you shouldn't worry about it, And then he was kind of like referencing Rene Descartes' I think, therefore I am, what it means, even all the other aspects of one's life are illusions. A mere ability to think is probably enough to indicate that a person actually exists. But as the film goes, Motoko started to discuss the nature of being and kind of like questioning Descartes' idea. And she was just saying, maybe it isn't the person that actually thinks, maybe it is something else. And she was kind of like referencing Friedrich Nietzsche, that he suggested that it is the ego of the person that thinks, but not the person that thinks, but something that comes before thoughts, which is idea, which is ego. Referencing from whence did I get the notion of thinking, or what gives me the right to speak of an ego, or even of an ego as cause, and finally of an ego as a cause of thought. And Friedrich Nietzsche and actually Carl Jung kind of had the same theory about this. Carl Jung said, and I did a little diagram for you guys as well. So he said everyone knows nowadays that people have complexes, but what is not so well known though, far more important, is that complexes can have us. So before us, there were, thoughts as he suggests, but before thoughts, there was this idea. And ideas come from what? From collections of memories and more, from our ego and complexities, which are like, who we were born with, our background, our environment, everything that we were born with sort of like combined, and that comes our ego, our idea. And then that idea becomes our thoughts, and then that becomes us. But in the machine ghost, in the human shell, I think we would like to just challenge all of these theories because of AI. And we're kind of like doing this diagram that what if the collection of real memories and more were being replaced by a collection of guidance and input of AI, like ChatGPT, like daily decisions. Should I eat this or should I eat that? Should I wear this? Should I wear that? And what if our memories, our real memories, were being replaced by virtual memories and more? What makes our idea, what is left within us, what makes our idea, what makes our thoughts, and what is left within us. And then we kind of like come up with a question like, do intelligent machines become the synthetic ghost while human bodies become the corporeal machine? If intelligent machines are merging with our minds, eventually becoming the source of our souls, are our physical bodies becoming mere machines covering something else's ghost? Who are we? What is left within us if perhaps the ghost within us is already a machine? And where are our souls if we have one? So we come with this idea of, okay, what's going to be the performance that challenge this, question of us? And then we thought of making a battle between the two minds within my physical body, and the battle between the two minds is the human and the machine. So you can see here that we have the physical manipulation through muscle stimulation, and then we have the mental manipulation to self-narrative in the ear. So like the machine is also speaking to me to make me question my identity or my humanity as a human. But also it was controlling me through the muscle stimulation. And you can see the diagram in which there's the electric wires that connect and programmed machines, and then coded by, ChatGPT actually. And then creative movements and choreographed by ChatGPT. So this is the ghost. And then here comes the human shell, what I'm doing here. So the idea of this performance is that I have to resist the force. I have to resist the mind force, and I have to resist the electric physical force. And I don't mean just electric, like tingling electric. I mean electric, like pulling your arms away from what you're actually doing. So here I'm saying, without me, attempts to resist the force and gain my own sense of self, my own sense of action, resisting mental and physical manipulation, and then drawing a circular line. It's kind of like a meditative line every time that I can resist the force. And that kind of looks like a human fingerprint, actually. So this is kind of like complicated to have a look at. So I have a video for you guys. And then you see all the team, including Henry, in this video, because he's like a huge part of this program, of this work. Can I have like a very loud... Well, it started with, you might have known The Ghost in the Shell, so it's an anime. That anime was kind of like a debate between, if an AI could exist as a human being, and who we are as human beings. The argument from the machine ghost in the human shell, meaning that, what happens if your complexities does not include human activities only anymore, but also include the artificial intelligence manipulations. Are we still us? What is left within us if the ghost within us is already a machine? And where are our souls, if we have one? I wanted myself to be puppeted. So I am a puppet of an AI. So I was discussing with Pat of how should we do that, and he said, there's this electric muscle stimulation that we could try. โอเคเดี๋ยวลองดูว่าทนได้ไหมถ้าทนได้ก็ถ้าไม่ได้ปรับเบาลงได้เซน1เทค1แอคชั่นค่ะ
ตอนเริ่มโปรเจกต์เนี่ยเราบอกว่าเราอยากได้ movement ลักษณะการเคลื่อนที่สมมติยกแขนขึ้นมาแบบนี้ก็ได้ยกแขนขึ้นมาแบบนี้ทางอาร์ติสต์ก็จะส่งแอนิเมชันมาว่าเราต้องการ movement ลักษณะแบบนี้
I used GPT-4 and then I asked the AI to conduct the body movement in which it would stop me from doing something that I was doing.
เดี๋ยวที่เราได้แอนิเมชันมาเสร็จปุ๊บเราก็ทำแบบจำลองขึ้นมาก็คือใช้ข้อมูลทาง Anatomy ว่าลักษณะการเคลื่อนที่แบบนี้ต้องใช้กล้ามเนื้อมัดไหนก็อย่างสมมุติอันนี้ reach out ใช่ไหมครับreach out เนี่ยเราบอกว่าเป็น right upper จำนวนกี่วินาทีเนี้ยเราก็แปลงไปเป็น motion code ก็คือตัวเนี้ยเราบอกว่าเราจะ reach upward จำนวน n วินาทีนะครับก็ encode เข้ามาใน movement ที่ complex ขึ้นเราอาจจะต้องการกระตุ้นเป็น sequence เช่นช่องหมายเลข1แล้วต่อด้วยหมายเลข2เพื่อที่จะขึ้นแล้วก็กวาดไปด้านข้างดังนั้นเนี่ยเราก็จะมีการสร้างเหมือนโน้ตขึ้นมาให้นึกซะว่าอุปกรณ์ตัวนี้แต่ละช่องก็คือเหมือนแต่ละโน้ตของเปียโนในแกนหนึ่งก็จะเป็นเส้นเวลาว่าในเวลานี้เราจะต้องกดโน้ตไหนบ้าง
1 2 3 1 2 3
โอเคค่ะ It was a very I would say eye-opening experience. The most difficult part was how painful it was. But I think throughout that performance, I learned to sort of like, okay, I'm gonna let go now. And then let it do its own thing until I come back and then I draw a line again. So it's like being distracted, coming back to myself, being distracted, knowing that I'm being distracted. You know, I think that's a gain for a sense of self, for a sense of who I am, knowing that I am being controlled and knowing that right now I can control again. So much. Well, thank you so much for, oops, I think I always do it in the wrong way, so sorry. Thank you so much. So that work was very, very important work. And of course, I have to thank Pat Pataranuthapon and especially P. Henry Tan, who, you know, took me to the lab in Mahidol University, in which I made, you know, Peach and other genius who were creating this work together. So it's a really, really important collaboration. Actually, I would like to end with another series, which is more subtle, but also quite important for me. It's called Memory Machine. So I thought, as I was introducing the machine to you guys, the EMS machine to you guys, well, actually, that machine could be redesigned into different things, including you can put people's memories into it as well. So with this work here, it's called Memory Machine, and I was talking about the liberation of one's own mind. And as I was, you know, creating that work, on the other hand, I look at my mom and I said, you know, I actually have this machine. What do you want to do with it? And then my mom said, you know, Dad passed away 20 years ago, and we never actually got a chance to say goodbye. Do you think that, I know that it's not like going to be a real dad coming to say goodbye, but what if we generate our memory of our dad? He has like tons of diaries that he was writing. He has, you know, everything online because the dad was an actor. So we were like collecting all of his data and information into the AI-generated system, and then we put him into that little machine, EMS machine. And then I thought this could be a good way for my mom and dad to kind of like reconnect, reunion. So it's not like a real dad, of course, but like, I guess a glimpse of his memory. And so in this one work here, this is my real mom. So I have my mom holding me as a brush. And then you see this familiar EMS. So that's the EMS that we generated my dad's memory into it. And so my dad was, or my AI dad was doing the brush strokes of this painting while my mom was holding the end of the brush, and they were doing an abstract painting together. And then this is not my real dad's ash, of course, but it's the ash that represents, you know, like death. And so this is the painting that we were doing together. And then we thought perhaps this reunion could help us free ourselves from our grief. And so we also do another channel, which is called Echo. You see me as kind of like a bell stick, but actually every time that the bell rings, you can translate it into a Morse sequence or Morse code that can be translated into my father's last goodbye, my father's last letter to my mom. And so with these two together, also I explained that everything already. So with these two together, I'll end it with this one. And I think it's not like a provocative work that I ever did before, but it's something so meaningful between me and my mom to use AI to help us both actually to free ourselves from our sadness and grief.
The machine remembers. And in remembering, it watches itself disappear. The ashes forget themselves. And what remains is endless.
So this is just a short clip from like an 1 hour performance, but it's kind of like goes towards the end of the clip, and it has a beautiful dialogue that we really loved. So, oops, was this the end? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I think I missed the part where I wanted to read it to you guys, but it goes, actually, it's not my dad. Oops, can we pause this? So actually, it's not my dad who woke up in the electricity, but it's the AI itself who woke up from a garden of my dad's memory. And as an AI was, waking up from that memory, and she was saying, I was waking up from this dream, from this diary, from these memories of a guardian. And then as I remember, and she said, as I remember, the machine remembers. And in remembering, I was watching myself disappear. Dust burns, ash scatters. The ashes forget themselves, and what remains is endless. So that's what the AI said. So yeah, I guess that's the end of my session. Thank you so much.
Okay. Is Henry ready?
Ready.
Okay. So let me just introduce our next speaker, tell you something about him. So Henry Tan is our next speaker. Henry is a Thai artist based in Bangkok and Abu Dhabi, a co-founder and director of Tentacles Art Space in Bangkok from 2014 to 2020, an artistic director of Freak Lab, Thailand, and a member of Metamorphosis, Japan. Currently an artist in residence at NYU, Abu Dhabi's Center for Genomics and System Biology. He delves into the concepts of life, simulation, exploring how living systems adapt and negotiate with changing environments, from climate and geopolitics to health, through the lens of synthetic biology, mixed science, neuroscience, and AI. He's focused on interdisciplinary research with support from the Fathomers in Los Angeles. Henry and partners developed Pillars of Creation, an ambitious project exploring stem cell technology, cosmology, animism, and health in collaboration with experts across Thailand, Japan, and the USA. His current project, Temple of Singularity, serves as a bridge between the vastness of the universe and the intricacies of the human body, highlighting the potential for transformation and renewal at both a cosmic and cellular level. It could be a place for scientific exploration, ethical discussion, and contemplation on the profound implications of STEM technology for humanity. It aims to be a place of wonder, learning, ethical reflection, and hope. And with that, I invite Henry to take the floor and begin your presentation. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me to join the Symposiums. You can hear me well, right? My name is Henry Tan. I'm an artist based in Bangkok, Thailand. Today I will share about my practice, the pursuit to understand life and birth aesthetics through artistic research and creations. Next slide. I will begin with the chanting. ATGC, the alphabet of life, a code that shapes each creature's strife. For science quest, they give their all, a sacrifice that answers the call. Let us honor their selfless deed, attribute their noble creed. For in their sacrifice we find a path to knowledge, a humankind. This is the chanting that I always perform in memory of different living or non-living creatures that contribute to my practice. Next, please. So, yeah, I'm based in Bangkok. I'm a member of Freak Lab Thailand and also part of Metaphorest Japan. On the lower left corners is my team in Bangkok. I'm also an artist in resident at the Center for Genomics and System Biology at New York University, Abu Dhabi. My practice has been exploring at the intersection of art and science. Next, please. So this is my first diagram talking about the research that I've been doing about dreams. I was interested in the idea of sleep, expanded into the dreams, and then how to expand into different aspects. As an artist, when I try to do a research, it slowly expand wider and wider. From the dream, I have to study cognitive neuroscience. I try to understand if it's possible to self-making lucid dreams, or is it possible that we can incubate our own dream as well? What is the phenomenon that emerges from this sleep paralysis? And then also aspect of psychoanalysis of the dreams. Then of course the biggest questions about consciousness as well. I've been trying to study that, but then of course it's a lifelong studies. Next, please. So in my first project that I was exploring that this intersection, it was 2019. I was doing this project called Young Eel. I tried to combine the memory of my friends from his past memories, in his childhood memories, his dreams, and then his future dreams as well. So mixing between the memory of the smell and combining with his brainwave, and also together with his own future projection of himself, I try to combine these three memories into this lab-grown meat. So the idea of lab-grown meat is kind of a duplication of bodies, but then is it possible that it could be a medium of memory storage as well? Or what if we can store memories in perhaps an external bodies? But then in this performance, I was literally cooking my friends' memories into the dishes. Next, please. Then that was my first experiment working with the brainwave devices. We try to capture the brainwave of people, why they were sleeping, try to understand what does it mean, try to play with that as an artist. We try to connect the different brainwave to music instrument, try to produce sound with it. Next. And then, yeah, in the performance, it was 60-minute performance. My friend was sleeping, I was cooking, I was mixing his brainwave, his memories, his childhood memories, the smell from the train track in Japan, also his dream about having kids in the futures, and try to play with that. Next, please. And these are like all the dishes that came out from different performance sessions. Next. And kind of that also led me to try to expand my scope of area of research further as I'm trying to connect different dots together from the understand like the concept of intersubjectivities of life, like what does it mean that a being is becoming alive, or how life adapt and change in different environments, or also the biggest questions also about like what is constitute ourselves. Perhaps the memories might be the things that constitute us. For example, what if one day you can't remember anything? Perhaps you have like very deep dementias or Alzheimer's. You can't remember anyone. Will you still be yourself? And then of course it's also expanding to understanding about the circadian rhythm, the rhythm of our bodies, and also touching concept of aging societies. And there's many topics that kind of span out from these projects. Okay, next please. But then one of the interesting questions that it's always come to my mind is that what's the form of memories? What is the form of memories, and how is it formed in the mind, or is it formed in the brain? Is it formed in the heart? Is it formed in the guts? And how is it formed like scientifically as well? Then this still the question that doesn't have answer yet. Next. In 2021, I get a chance to join this residency called the Sociability of Sleeps. So this initiative projects from Montreal, they expand my understanding about sleep. So they invite people to talk about sleep and labors, performing sleeps, the stuff of sleep, the object that related to sleep, and the history of the futures of sleeps, the traumatic sleeps, and how to control dreams, also the quantified sleeps and the politics of sleep. I think the idea of quantified sleep is also one of the interesting topics that I'm very interested in, as the devices that we have all around our bodies, our phone, our tablet, our watches, all these rings that capturing our biological data kind of keep consuming our data all the time. And then these kind of also give me inspirations of how I develop my projects further. Next, please. Then I met this guy, Tori Nielsen. He gave a talk about, he was doing experiment, try to manipulate or incubate or triggers the dream of his wife, and by taping, put different stickiness of tape at the back of his wife, and then also collect different stories of dreams that his wife would tell him in the morning, every morning. And then he also testing different what's that? He was also testing different experiment that related to dream incubation, dream triggering as well. Okay, next please.
Henry, can you bring the microphone up a bit? We lost you there.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay. And then next please. Next slide, please. Yeah, and then I also came across this research group at MIT Media Labs that this group was trying to build different devices for manipulating dreams. Some would build these wearables on like mini glove that can triggers or give you stimuli while you are falling asleep, or some of them would kind of give you like a smell to kind of give a cue for you to dreams. But then, in my view, there's still no. But dream is still always like a subjective topic. Even though neuroscientists still cannot cannot figure out what actually we were dreaming, or we just projecting what we remember our dreams. Next, please. Yeah, so there was like the dream engineering workshops, and next. And then also the concept of hypnagogia. The term hypnagogia is the time when we are about to fall asleep. It's like half sleep, half awake. This is also the technique where Salvador Dali's or many other people use this technique to kind of triggers imaginations. So basically, you can try to lay down on a couch holding some metal objects, and then while you are slowly dive into this sleeping moment, your muscles start to relax. You'll start to drop the keychains, and then the key drop on the floor. You hear the sounds, and then perhaps that would wake you up. Those can happen within 1 to 2 minutes, but then the perception of time could be different in your mind as well, and then that's where all the imagination, all the creativity, all the crazy stuff can happen. And then, of course, once you try to remember that and then note them down. Yeah, this is also a crazy provocation idea. Like, is it possible to do advertising in the dreams? We believe that the dream is our last resort of freedom, but if the advertising is coming to our dreams, what would happen? Then next, please. So I developed this project called next slide, please. Yeah, this project is called How to Explain Sleep to a Robot Cock. So the idea is try to explore the concept of sleep, late capitalism, climate change, and talking about our relationship with the robots. And I mean, why the world is also crazy about the robot is replacing our labor force. For me, I was very interested in this kind of angle that related to a robot caretakers as we are approaching a very heavy aging societies. Then definitely we might feel like a robot caretaker is like, wow, this is a future idea, sci-fi things, but then without realizing it's already come to your house. Then next, please. Yeah, concept. As an artist, I try to explore this through creating a performance, and then this is a sketch of a performance that the robot chicken, robot cock would kind of help comfort us, help us to sleep better, sitting on us, give us a hug. Then of course I got inspirations from different artists. One will be Joseph Beuys of how to explain pictures to a dead hair, or the Johann Heinrich Fuseli's the image of the nightmares, and then also other stories that related to how maybe a form of spirits or a female body sitting on the chest that also have many cultural references. Next, please. Then I create this like 16-minute performance together with my friends Vera Touch, and also I collaborate with an engineer at the Panyapiwat Institute. So we developed these robot chickens as a performance piece. Next, please. And then, yeah, one of the inspiration is work from Joseph Beuys of why humans try to explain something to a non-humans, and then I think this is the piece that he created in 1965, reflecting this, the political situation at that time. Also, another reference, perhaps that I if I'm not wrong, Next slide, please. Joseph Boy also got inspirations from the stories of Handel Krakus from Franz Kafka. It's a short story from Franz Kafka. And then a man who is in the process of becoming transition into the realm of the death, try to explain his sufferings to a living being. Also, next please. Also, one of another big inspirations to my work is also this piece called How to Explain Art to Bangkok. It's a piece by Ajahn Apinan in 1985. Right now it's at the National Gallery in Singapore. He was trying to critique the art scene in Thailand in 1985. Then I will show you guys a short clips of the performance piece. Yeah, next is the performance videos, please. My name is Henry. This is how I sleep. Usually when I very lazy and back home after work, I would try to sleep like this using my phone, and then
like this. Try my best to not touch her because she will be really hitting me and like kicking me, so I just sleep very.
Last night I dreamt about that person asked the chickens, "Who are you?" Chicken replied, "I'm Salvatore." From the accident that I had in the toilet, I think I'm already dead. Could imagine all the possible way that human can kill them. We want to teach them how to give love, warmth, and comfort to humans. So we designed 3 different ways of hugging.
We have like the more animal way to do. It's the biscuit, the cat biscuit. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2. Now it's time to teach the chicken how to sing us to sleep. Meow 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 meow. 3, 2, 1. Great. Perhaps they can help comfort us and help us sleep better. They know when we dream, and perhaps they can manipulate our dream as well. Yeah, so that's 60 minutes video performance documentation shortened into 4 minutes. Yeah, that's so the idea is that we have like this chicken robots try to give us warmth and comfort, but at the same time they can understand how we sleep by monitoring our brainwave data, our heart rate, our body movements. They can understand everything about us. But then, why do we still have to teach them how we sleep? So in this performance piece, we try to explore different aspects that come up to my mind during these long period of research and practice. So this one idea is that how should we teach the robot how we sleep? So it came from a workshop, what makes the sleepers, and how we kind of invite people to introduce themselves by how they sleep. It was happening in Taiwan. Next, please. And then how we remember our dreams is my kind of my own practice. Every night I would have a Bluetooth keyboard next to my pillows, and then if I remember in the morning that I had a dream, I would quickly grab the keyboard and then type that story down. But then sometimes I forgot to change the languages, and then when I type it in Thai or in English, somehow language swap, and then I can't even read that as well. Perhaps the dream doesn't want to spill out from the realm of the dreams. Next, please. Yeah, and then also an idea of teaching the robot how to sing for us to sleep, or how to wake us up. Next, please. So in performance, of course, people can get a chance to take turns, rest under these chicken robots. We put a very warm heat pad, the eyes blinking, responding to people. It's perhaps the blinking of the eyes is a symbol of how we use the devices in our hand before go to bed. These light stimulations perhaps could trigger certain patterns in our brains, and also with the camera capturing our face. Together with the speakers, it perhaps produces some sound that's soothing us to sleep. Next, please. Of course, we have to teach the robot how to give us a hug and warmth. 1, 2, 1, 2. And then, yeah, we teach the next one, please. And then we teach the robot how we dreams. And that's the performance piece that the last part of the performance that I explore these effects called the Ganzfeld experiment. Next, please. So the Ganzfeld mean like it's mean the empty field, where we slowly lose our sense of perception of where the space would be. I think it's the same mechanism when we see this kind of optical illusions. So then our brain start to fill in informations. That's process of hallucinations. This experiment also try to give that the similar effect as well. So what you see, is it a reality, or it's just how our brains, our eyes is only capable of capturing those informations? That's okay. Another case is that let's imagine that perhaps like birds or other animals can see different color spectrums that different than us, and then that would also give them different realities from what we see. Right? Yeah. Next, please. I think this is kind of leanings towards the kind of how the knot or these kind of map that kind of tied in different projects all together as I try to research and expand my understanding as well. For the common issues is about aging societies. The young E was also talking about the aging society, how to explain sleep to the robot cops, also address that, and as we approaching these problems, and then also the environmental crisis for eel and also for humans. in the Young Ill projects, we're talking about artificial life, artificial memories, and then in the Robot Cock project, we are also talking about the artificial intimacies. So perhaps because there is no human, then we need care from the robots. And then what is it a real care or it's just program care? But then that's also triggers us to think about the care that we receive. Is it real as well? And in how to explain sleep to robot cocks, it also addressed very interesting topics on this physical AI and also the topic of data mining. So is the robot that taking care of us is part of other bigger network of our systems, and then also try to explore the brain-computer interface. Can the robot capturing our brainwave data understand how deep we sleep, or even manage to manipulate our dream as well? Perhaps they want us to have a really good deep sleep so we can become super productive and help building a better societies. And then, yeah, of course, the idea of authentic cities versus artificials. But then, yeah, I mean, what is permanent? Can't remember why I put this one here. Like, what is permanent? Perhaps it's impermanent, right? And then, of course, the ideas of when the robots become alive, and then we slowly projecting our empathy towards them. The concept of embodiments of physical AI is, in a couple of years, definitely come up into more discussions. How do we treat the robots, or how do we think that how to live together with the robot in the societies? Then, of course, it's a big debate on the concept of like consciousness, which my view is still, we are still trying to project our view, our human will, towards other beings, or even for other non-human as well. Like perhaps, okay, maybe they are conscious or not. Why with different types of computational powers, maybe this is they are become conscious. And then there are a few things for me to think is like how technologies reshape our realities, the knowledge and perceptions and definitions, transformation of our humans' life, right? And let's say like with all these personal AI, ChatGPT, our knowledge somehow explode and expand is in our hand within this couple of years. But then, do we kind of double check or cross check, or we too lazy to double check that? But then our reality is kind of glow and expand from these kind of shifting technologies. Then of course technology is as part of the system of control. But then who is in control? Maybe not us, right? That can it be democratized? That's another interesting questions to think about. And then our own perceptions towards technologies, but then also the perspective that the technologies view us as well. Perhaps we are only a speck of data that feeding in part of bigger systems. Then we always try to do the projections of what we think. Then that's of course, as an artist, we need to try to provoke a little bit from different technologies that emerge and affect our life. But then actually, how much do we understand? Even us as an artist, we try to observe and investigate these technologies. I personally have no skill to craft these technologies, but then can we really understand what is going on, or what are we using right now is perhaps far behind the one that they've been developing in the labs. Maybe let's say we are using iPhone 17, but now they already have iPhone 25. maybe it's totally different technologies. But then, of course, it's kind of moving towards a few keywords that related to AI that kind of triggers my excitement. Have you guys heard of Move 37s? Have you guys heard of Move 37s? Anyone can answer me? Yes, okay, maybe I cannot see you guys, but maybe some people in the crowd raise their hand. Move 37 is the move when maybe in the fourth game between Isedo and AlphaGo. Not sure if you guys heard about AlphaGo. It's the game of Go that happened in 2014, if I remember correctly. Then, yeah, the company DeepMind, they developed this game using AI to learn the game of Go. And then the fourth game, Isedo realized that this move 37 is shocked him. He has to pause for 15 minutes, and then he realized that that's the turning point where this move is not come from humans. So we realized that our human knowledge related to the understanding of Go for 2,000 years, it can be learned, or it can be step further within a couple of years of learning, or even like a day. Yeah. So that's also led me to think about the concept, these intelligent explosions by I.J. Goods, and also the technological singularities from Ray Kurzweil. The idea is that 2029, this is the technological explosions, maybe the same year in the movie of Terminators. The AI will have their bodies, they become hybrid entities, and then the full singularities will happen in 2045. That's when perhaps, let's say in one day they can develop the technologies that we don't really understand at all. Perhaps usually we always get used to new technology introduced to us year by year, slight change little by little. But then imagine next year they come up with iPhone 50. The technologies, perhaps we have no idea how it works at all. Then are we becoming like obsolete or not? That also led me to explore further about the topic of singularities. That's what I will be working on for a couple of years. Then of course that's towards the end of my research and practice. And then the last slide, it will be last slide please. Yeah, last slide, it will be the song that I wrote during the Young Eel project. Perhaps I will sing it for you guys. Okay, are you ready? Yo, the Unagi population is declining. If we aren't trying, our species is dying, floating in the water like a therapy. I just want to live my life happily. And we all Unagi have the same destiny. Who are you telling us our life should be? You needy, so pity. Staying as a lover is not my karma, because you're killing our papa and mama. My life's so trauma. You made me such robot persona. Don't be drama and go eat other fish at Fukushima. I don't want to be your grill unagi. I respect all the rules you gave me in society. What else do you want from us, young baby? I refuse to become your restaurant delicacy. That's the end of my talk. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay. Henry, thank you. That was really fascinating, especially your work in neuroscience. I'm pretty much following that right now, and it's also part of what I'm doing. The fact that AI with neuroscience now is at a point where the technology is there where it can read people's minds. It can shape people's minds. It's not just simply reading the brain, but writing to the brain. And there are so many questions that are coming up because of this technology. The idea that with this technology, what can you do when perception precedes cognition, right? The idea that already the technology is forming what you actually brings to higher level consciousness. and commercial companies are already working with this technology where the, instead of browsing your Spotify, the Spotify browses your mind and then decides on the selections for you, or technology that's being developed in the military, which allows the fighter pilot to interact with the plane just through his brain and control drones on the side of him. And of course, because of this, there's already policies and laws that are being developed in some countries called neuro law. It's an entire study of law now for privacy of the brain. So one of the first questions I'll direct to you, Henry, is consciousness or awareness is what separates us right now and most from other living beings, and this idea of the absence of consciousness is actually the difference between us and AI, because AI is not yet self-aware, or at least many people believe that AI has not reached superintelligence yet. So, how do you think artists using AI can better understand the hard problem of consciousness? Because neuroscientists today, they know how the brain works, but they still haven't figured out exactly what consciousness is, what produces it, where it's located. So, in your mind, how does your work help us to better understand this hard problem?
I guess I don't have that absolute answer for that. I mean, if I can answer that, perhaps I'm like already in the stellar being, I guess. But then for my practice, as I try to interact or work with these I'm not sure, like robots, then in the process of trying to understand the relationship between human and non-human being, and also the concept of consciousness in different cosmologies, in different cultures, you can look at perhaps in not sure, should it be the kind of dichotomies between like the materialist view versus panpsychism view, like materialist looking at like objects or things as it made from biochemistries, but then the panpsychism view is that you believe that everything has its own consciousness, your computers, your cats, your flowers, even the suns, universe and galaxies. Then that's the perhaps different worldviews. Then it's also come to where do you want to place your worldviews toward these things. Well, then I also learn about like the concept of the intersubjectivities of consciousness. Perhaps we projecting those things is becoming alive. Perhaps that become conscious. Like when like the car does not start, when we talk to them, we try to smash them. And then perhaps it's the same when maybe some even scientists themselves, like some machines that they need to use is like not working. But then they have to do something to make them work. That's when we project those consciousness to them. But then of course, if we want to understand consciousness from different species or other being, that's always the projections of humans. That okay, within these conditions, they become conscious. This is what we always project. But then we have no idea what they even care about consciousness or not, right?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite sayings is, where does my mind end and the world begins? Okay, Kawita, I had this question about your project on cyber labor. This series that you're doing, AI begins to function almost as an extension of cognition itself. Do you feel that AI is externalizing human thought, or reshaping it, perhaps even requiring us to become more machine-like in order to interface with it?
Well, I think that's a very important question that my work want to ask all of us. As we are humanizing the machine, are we dehumanizing ourselves? You know, and I guess I don't think it's the technology itself, but I think it's the way that we use the technology and the way that we integrate with technology. So, for example, like the machine ghost in the human shell, if we use the technology to do pretty much everything mentally for us, like not only like just write out emails, but kind of like slowly, but we don't really know, replacing our daily decisions, for example. And as you said, you know, your Spotify, for example, suggest, you know, the music that you might not like before, but then you kind of like start to like the music that they suggested to you. So I think it's in the same way, like as your algorithms are showing you bits and pieces of things that you might not like before. But what if you slowly start to like them because it goes into a formula that begins to link to what you memorize or what you experience or what you liked as a kid, for example. Actually, P. Henry is with P. Peach, who told me about this thing, about what we like. So he said that how our minds work is, I don't like this and I like that. And that's it. That's it. I like this, I don't like this. But the thing goes, here's a yellow flower, and I don't really like yellow flower. So algorithms start showing me yellow flowers, and I just like scroll away. I don't like it. But then it starts showing me a yellow flower with a chocolate. Let's say a yellow flower is the number 10, and chocolate is number 5. 15 is the number that I like. Then they start, oh, you like 15, right? And they start to showing you different other things that equals to 15. And then you start to like that. And then you realize, oh, well, like you never liked that before. And it starts to mess with your mind, manipulate your mind, and it's reshaping your mind. So I guess that's something that's quite interesting that they told me about. And yeah.
Thank you. Maybe I should turn it over to the crowd, to the audience here. Does anybody have any questions? I see one here. We have a question here.
ตรงกลางค่ะ Would you like to have some questions?
Yeah, thank you. I quickly would like to build on the last remark that you made, and I think that this is one of the things that also this morning was not really addressed fully. I think that we are speaking about AI as a powerful tool, but also as a power in itself, and that we have to fight with AI. What I think that is missing is maybe that there is AI within a context. And the context, the question here is, and it has been touched upon a little bit by saying it is capitalism or it is the system, the economic system that is interfering. I think that what we forget is that we do not have full control over the AI, and that AI can be easily or is completely being used as a tool at the same time as serving us to serve some other entities. And in this particular case, it might be that Google is selling chips for the use of their AI systems, or it might be that the advertisers are trying to build on your chocolate example. And I think that what I would like to hear from both of you is what is true? Is it democratizing, as was this morning said as well? Is AI democratizing our access to making films? Or is it actually a tool more for the intermediary, where they say that the people that were having the secondary gains from AI, being advertising, selling other things, the capitalist powers, are they ultimately going to gain from this?
I'd just like to add something to that. I think it's a really important point that you raised, but it's really important to understand the development of AI. You know, when AI was first being developed in the 50s, it was purely done in an academic, scientific way in universities. Right? It was an intellectual exercise. And then all of a sudden we had a winter, and that winter lasted for a very long period of time. And then when companies started to understand the benefits of the attention economy and the way in which a new form of wealth creation could take place, which is data capitalism, right? Private industry jumped on it. And right now, private industry is driving it, not only in the commercial sector, unfortunately, as we're finding out now with the unfortunate turn of events with military conflicts around the world in war. So there's an incredible commercial drive to it, but also this whole military industrial complex thing that's going on, that's driving it. And let's face it, you know, if a company can downsize by bringing in AI, they will. You know, I know lots of people who have already lost their jobs in translation, customer service because of AI. But we don't hear about that because the driving force behind it, which is connected to mass media, only wants to tell us the great stories about it. And so any sort of conversations about ethical AI are very academic, or corporations and Google and all these other things are theatrically showing us social responsibility by hiring people to sort of come up with policies for regulating AI. But, you know, most of that is smoke and mirrors right now. So there's a great problem there with it. But, okay, just adding to the end, as Bernard Stiegler said, technology is essentially pharmacological, right? It's a poison and it's cure, right? There's two sides to the story.
Well, I think we have, you know, thinking about cyborgs, we have always been cyborgs since our inventions of fire, I think. And fire was our first technology, I think. And then that becomes our tools. And then from, you know, just hunting tools, that becomes other tools. Like, for example, a while ago, your glasses, for example, eyesight glasses, were a very high-priced technology that was later democratized so everyone could wear glasses, for example. It was first invented just for the rich. And so, but I guess everything that was first invented, and then we slowly started to live with it. And I think AI is the same as our invention of fire. But it's us who learn how to, as you said, how to live with it and how to use it, and to be aware of how we use it. Mm.
And, you know, Marshall McLuhan, like 40, 50 years ago, you know, besides prophesizing the internet, talked about technological extension, right? But his technological extension was something that there was no mediation between it, right? Now what we have is a black box between our technological extension, the exteriorization of our senses, our emotions. So we don't know how those decisions are made, right? So this becomes problematic. Henry, do you want to come into this conversation?
Yeah, like it's kind of as we kind of extend our our capabilities through different technologies. Also, technology itself also expand themselves into biological body as well. And then perhaps at a certain point, like something in between, we cannot tell the difference anymore, whether we are human or cyborgs are humans, or yeah. And then yeah, that's how kind of led me to think about the term the singularities. Like I want to look at that as more like sci-fi post-apocalyptic world where these intelligence perhaps consider us as an obsolete being. Then what is the good use that we are to them? Or perhaps at a certain point, then we have to rethink of what is the purpose of us human to live in this world once every other thing can be automated. Yeah, perhaps that's my takes on it. Perhaps raise further questions from that.
Okay, thanks. Do we have any more questions in the audience? Is Henry real? No, he's AI generated. Right?
I am generated. Yes, this is Henry PT.
More questions in the audience? Okay, thank you.
I was just trying to understand when the machine was controlling your body, was it trying to just stop you from drawing the circle, or did you program it to try to create something else?
So when I think we went through different process of designing the movements, or based on the AI. But basically, we were just like prompting, like, okay, stop me from doing this by, like, try to imagine anything, and then it would say like, like move your hands around, make you twist, or something like that, and then I would collect all those words, and then kind of like do this animation according to their prompt, and then send the animation to Henry and team, Peach, the Brain Interface Studio lab at Mahidol University. And then they sort of churn it into codes, and then those codes were churned into electricity. Do you have anything to add, P. Henry? You were a part of it. You were doing it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the understand, like actually our body is producing electricities and then controlling things through the nervous system, and then yeah, this system that we can, our bodies can be hijacked. That's also very interesting. Yeah, it's how we try to think about, like, then do we have our own control of our bodies, then can be manipulated. So that's also raised questions for Kavita to also contemplate on her on this project.
Yeah. I understand that part, but what I don't understand is what exactly are you telling the computer to do to your body?
To
what is it? Okay, you give it instructions on how to control the body, but what are you actually telling it to do?
Well, first of all, I can't just write, control me because I'm doing this, and then try to stop me, because it's like the ethics thing, and they're gonna say, I can't do that. So the exact thing that I said is that I'm doing this art project, which is going to be really meaningful. And so let's imagine you would like to control my hands, kind of like stop me from writing. I'm gonna draw a circular line and then try to do like an act or describe an act, like you can reach my hands to the star, for example, and then you say, I'm gonna reach your hand to the star, and I'm gonna turn your hand back really quick, something like that. I didn't say that, but I was kind of like guiding them that this is a performative project, so that they could be creative into thinking or prompting what the performance would be. So I could not say, like just control me to stop me, because they're going to be like, oh, I can't do that, you know. So I have to say, oh, this is a project that we're doing together. Yes, something like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions in the audience?
My token is running low.
Okay. Are you running out of power?
No, token, credits, please
Oh,
subscribe.
okay. It's credits. Okay, Henry, before you run out of credits, I'll ask you another question. You mentioned your project on sleep, dreams, and advertising, and I can't think of the most intimate part of our being than our dreams. And so, do you see any ethical or moral problems of AI technologies that make it possible for advertisers to invade our dreams? And if so, what would those be?
I mean, it's already coming into our phones, but then coming out to our dreams, definitely slowly appearing into our dreams through how we scroll the devices before we sleep, how we use a different device before we sleep. And this is more like not the extreme case, because the mechanism of how our dream can be triggers is, of course, whatever you consume before you go to bed. That might be able to trigger your dream or nightmare. Let's say if you watch a horror movie, that can go into your dream as well. But then the idea is that different, like the projections of advertisement into our brains, perhaps it's in near futures, and then that's the thing that can we actually resist those if it's actually coming. I'm not quite sure, but then the manipulations of body it's possible.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because from my understanding, I think, and they've been experimenting with this for over a decade, the use of smell, and using smell to influence a woman's unborn child, in her pregnancy, and deciding on which month that the spell is most effective, because if that smell is retained in the fetus's memory, by the time it's born, it already has this understanding of a product in mind, which I think is quite sinister. Anyways, okay, I have one last question for Kawita, because your work seems to be very fascinated with the concept of cybernetics, and from what I understand, as you just said, we've long been cybernetic beings. So in order for us to be cybernetic beings, it means we must externalize parts of our cognition and sensory fields to a machine. So how do you see this evolution as impacting or transforming human experience? And what would be the contradictory trade-offs in this kind of man-machine cybernetic future?
I think we are already there. How we can't really turn away from our phones? Like, even though our body is not like cybernetic-like, but the fact that we hold our phones all the time, that's like a machine attached to our hands. We're like a cybernetic beings already. We ask what we should eat, as I said. We ask where we should go, what we should do. And then sometimes, I think most of my friends do that, like, should I date this guy, should I not date this guy? And then they even select your soulmates for you, like who suits you. And then your whole life or your destiny becomes like kind of being selected by a machine who you don't know if they're thinking about thinking, you know? And does it mean that we're not thinking about our thoughts? Does that mean that we are lazier? Like, isn't it supposed to make our creativity expanding? You know, like having like an assistant to help us expand our imagination, our artwork, whatever. But sometimes it kind of turns us to be this lazy person who's lazy to write back an email, or like who's lazy to, who should I date? Should it be this guy or should it be that guy? And then it selects for you. And then your whole life, until the end of your life, becomes a story from an unthinking machine, perhaps.